You work yourself to the bone, do everything right, and yet you find yourself staring at the ceiling, wondering why. The universe does absolutely nothing to help in return. It is a deeply universal frustration. The root of this anger comes from how we measure value. Humans are wired to equate visible physical effort with actual productivity. When we spend our days sweating and struggling, a silent, unmoving divine presence feels less like peaceful oversight and more like outright apathy. According to an old fable, a man brings this exact complaint to an ancient temple, only to have the statue suddenly speak. God accepts the challenge, offering to swap places and let the mortal stand on the pedestal. There is exactly one non-negotiable rule. The man must remain entirely mute and entirely paralyzed. No matter what happens right in front of his face, he cannot intervene. This condition shifts the challenge from a test of physical stamina to an assault on the human reflex to interfere. The pedestal is a trap designed to expose the human urge to micromanage a reality we don't fully understand. The man accepts the deal and steps onto the pedestal. His muscles lock, his posture becomes rigid, and he adopts the unblinking stare of stone. He settles in with a profound sense of arrogance. Compared to the back-breaking labor of his daily life, simply watching the world go by and doing absolutely nothing seems like an effortless vacation. The irony quickly reveals itself. For a human mind conditioned to constantly react, to fix problems and assert control, forced observation without action is an agonizing discipline. The test begins when a wealthy merchant rushes into the temple. He mutters a hasty prayer, turns to leave, and accidentally drops a heavy pouch of money on the floor. Minutes later, a destitute, starving laborer walks in. He sees the pouch, looks to the heavens in gratitude for what he believes is a miracle, and quickly hurries out with the gold. Up on the pedestal, the man's mind is screaming. His moral compass demands that he shout, point a finger, and expose the theft occurring right under his nose. But the divine rule binds his tongue. We process events through a framework of linear morality. In this framework, right and wrong are judged strictly by the immediate visible transfer of an object. If property moves from person A to person B without permission, the equation registers a crime. Relying on this straightforward equation generates a massive blind spot. It forces us to judge a single transaction in a vacuum, completely isolating it from any broader context or history. The situation on the temple floor rapidly deteriorates. A third man arrives, a poor, entirely innocent local who simply kneels to pray. Almost immediately, the local police burst in. They are searching for the missing gold, and seeing a poor man at the scene, they falsely arrest him and begin a brutal interrogation. As the innocent man pleads for mercy, a sailor walks into the temple. At that exact moment, the enraged merchant returns to find his gold. The merchant takes one look at the newly arrived sailor, assumes he is the culprit, and violently attacks him. The man on the pedestal snaps. Unable to tolerate the overlapping injustices, his ego overrides the divine wager. He violently breaks his frozen posture and screams the absolute truth about the laborer taking the money, demanding an end to the chaos. In his own mind, he acted as a righteous hero restoring order. In reality, assuming he possessed the authority to correct the situation was the ultimate display of mortal arrogance. The chaos freezes instantly as God reappears in the temple. Instead of offering praise, God delivers a devastating verdict. The man's outburst has completely ruined a perfect design. The merchant had acquired that money through exploitation, while the laborer's family was literally starving to death. The misplaced pouch was a precise redistribution of resources, correcting a previous imbalance and keeping a family alive without the merchant ever missing the coins. The innocent man enduring the interrogation was fated to walk down a specific road where a fatal accident was waiting for him. Being falsely arrested and delayed at the temple kept him off the street and saved his life. Finally, the sailor was strong and well-connected. He would have easily defended himself and clear his name. Because the man on the pedestal interfered, The laborer is hunted, the innocent man walks towards an accident, and the entire karmic system collapses. Every localized, seemingly unjust micro-event acts as a single calibrated gear within a massive, unseen macro purpose that balances the scales of thousands of lives at once. Human eyes can only process the present, isolated frame, leaving us blind to the temporal sequence that connects one moment to the next. Omniscience views the entire continuum simultaneously, seeing the destination of every action before it begins. True faith requires redefining our expectations. It means accepting that when the universe is silent, or when it refuses to fix a problem right in front of you, that apparent inaction is a deliberate, protective calibration. Lasting peace requires shedding the ego of the micromanager. When you realize you cannot see the full timeline, you can finally surrender your need to control reality and leave the blueprint to the architect.